Console gaming has given us some of the most unforgettable stories and worlds ever created. These aren't just games, they're experiences that stuck with us long after the credits rolled. From open-world adventures to emotional narratives, this list covers the absolute greatest console games of all time. Horizon Zero Dawn took players into a world where nature reclaimed the Earth, but it wasn't empty. Towering robotic creatures roamed the land, and you played as Aloy, an outcast searching for answers about her past. What made Horizon special was the mix of mystery, survival, and exploration. Every battle with those machines felt intense, and uncovering the story behind why the world became this way was unforgettable. Persona 5 Royal wasn't just a role-playing game. It was a stylish, emotional journey about fighting back against corruption. By day, you were a high school student living a normal life. By night, you were part of the Phantom Thieves, stealing the hearts of the corrupt. The friendships, the choices, the soundtrack, everything had personality. It wasn't just a game, it made you feel like part of the team. Detroit became human-focused on story and choice. You controlled androids in a future where they were treated as tools, but they started to want freedom. Every decision mattered. One moment of hesitation could change an entire character's fate. It asked tough questions about identity and humanity, making you think about what it really means to be alive. Ghost of Tsushima was a love letter to samurai films. You played as Jin Sakai, a warrior torn between honor and survival as Mongols invaded Japan. The island was stunning. Every sunset, every duel felt cinematic. But beneath the beauty was a story about sacrifice, tradition, and what it takes to protect your home. Death Stranding was unlike anything else. It wasn't about non-stop combat, but about connection, delivering supplies, rebuilding broken lands, and slowly piecing together a story about survival after a world-ending event. It was strange, emotional, and deeply personal. Some found it slow, but for many, it became one of the most unique gaming experiences ever made. Astro proved that sometimes simplicity can leave the biggest impact. It was a joyful, creative platformer that showed off what modern consoles could do. Every level was packed with charm, clever mechanics, and moments that made you smile. It wasn't about being the biggest game on the list. It was about reminding players why gaming is fun. Final Fantasy VII Remake brought back one of the most legendary RPGs ever, but it wasn't just nostalgia. It reimagined the story of Cloud, Aerith, and the fight against Shinra with new depth and emotion. The combat blended strategy with action, and the world felt more alive than ever. It honored the past, while creating something new for a new generation. Days Gone was an open-world survival game with heart. You played as Deacon, a biker in a post-apocalyptic world overrun by freakers. At first, people thought it was just another zombie game. But the emotional weight of Deacon's story about loss, loyalty, and never giving up made it stand out. And those massive hordes of freakers? Pure chaos, but unforgettable. Metal Gear Solid 5 was Hideo Kojima's last chapter of the series, and it showed. The gameplay freedom was unmatched. Every mission could be tackled in countless ways. Stealth, action, creativity, it was all in your hands. Beyond the gameplay, it was also about Big Boss's tragic story, showing how legends are built and broken. Sekiro was brutal, a game that demanded skill, patience, and mastery. You played as a shinobi fighting to protect his master, facing impossible odds and enemies that pushed you to your limits. But once you conquered those challenges, the reward was unmatched. It wasn't just difficult for the sake of it. It was a story of loyalty, resilience, and growth. At launch, Cyberpunk 2077 had problems, but over time, it became the game people dreamed it would be. A futuristic RPG set in Night City, full of choice, chaos, and characters you won't forget. It let you shape your own story, from street mercenary to legend. Its world felt alive, dangerous, and full of possibility. Uncharted 4 closed the chapter on Nathan Drake's adventures, and it did it with style. Treasure hunting, exotic locations, and cinematic set pieces, but also a personal story about family and leaving the past behind. It was the perfect ending to one of gaming's most beloved franchises. Dark Souls 3 perfected the formula that made the series famous. A dark, haunting world where every step felt dangerous. Every enemy felt like a test. The sense of accomplishment after surviving it all was unmatched. It wasn't just about difficulty, it was about atmosphere, discovery, and the stories hidden in its world. Spider-Man finally got the game he deserved. Swinging through New York felt natural and exhilarating. But it wasn't just about being a superhero. It was about Peter Parker balancing responsibility, love, and sacrifice. The story hit hard, showing both the hero and the man behind the mask. Bloodborne was gothic horror at its finest. A city plagued by nightmares, twisted monsters, and secrets hidden in the shadows. Its combat was aggressive, its world unsettling, and its atmosphere unmatched. It was a game that pulled you into its madness and never let go. The Last of Us Part 2 divided players, but no one could deny its impact. It told a raw, painful story of revenge, love, and forgiveness. Every choice, every moment carried emotional weight. The performances, the writing, the gameplay, everything was pushed to its limit to deliver something unforgettable. God of War reinvented itself with Kratos and Atreus' journey. A brutal warrior became a father, trying to guide his son in a harsh world. The combat was powerful, but the story, about grief, responsibility, and legacy, elevated it to something far more than an action game. Red Dead Redemption 2 was more than a western. It was a living, breathing world that made you feel like part of the band in the game. Arthur Morgan's story was heartbreaking, showing the cost of loyalty and the passing of an era. It wasn't just a game, it felt like stepping into history. The Witcher 3 was a massive RPG full of choices, monsters, and unforgettable characters. Playing as Geralt, you weren't just slaying beasts, you were navigating politics, love, and destiny. Every quest felt meaningful, every story had depth. It set the standard for open-world RPGs. And at the very top, GTA 5. 3 protagonists, one city, endless possibilities. Whether you were following the gripping main story or just causing chaos in Los Santos, it delivered in every way. It became more than a game. It turned into a cultural phenomenon, one of the most played and remembered titles in history. These games didn't just entertain, they defined console gaming. Each one left its mark, shaping how stories are told and how worlds are built. And years from now, people will still be talking about them.